honored to call you my sister. This is our sister, Michelle. Michelle, this is the world. World, this is Michelle. And as we were just talking prior, you wear so many beautiful hats, but I think your hats are worn on your heart.
Absolutely.
Because you are just light and love, and you're an author, and you're a healer, a spiritual teacher, a mom, there's so many. But I'm going to, as you know, when we get together, we talk endlessly, which time does stand still when we're together. But I am, as Marla as well, so honored that you can share your story, your journey, and the inspiration you've given us from your words that still, as we were touching on, wow, it's still making my hair stand up. I know, right? And Marla's just like, so Michelle, this is the world. World, this is Michelle.
Hi, world. Oh my gosh, I'm so incredibly honored and grateful that you guys invited me into the space to hold space with you. One, because of what you're doing in terms of making people intentional with who they are and how they're walking. You know, that's so incredibly important to bring that awareness to people, or even to open that door for people to start that journey. So, I mean, some of the best farmers have always have the best seed. And so to grow a tree of intention that hangs around the neck is beyond beautiful. So yes, thank you for having me here.
We really, and you know, thank you for those beautiful words. And what I love about us and all of the beautiful souls that are in our lives, because we are all connected, and this is what it's so important to share in a time that's so needed, because we get in our heads that even if we don't speak with a sister, a brother, in a month, a year, we're with one another every second of the day, because it is about soul to soul connection, and that bond, that tie, that connection will never break no matter what, because that's, wow, that's just pure love. And
right.
And oh my goodness, I'm like a little kid right now. How excited right?
Yes.
Because I just remembered the words that were just read that I want you to share, and taking us back. I think well, I'll let you share. I'm not.
So taking us back, it was because of Calvin who brought me and said I needed an intention stick. I guess you had met him at an event, but he had brought me to introduce me and whatnot. And so we had a fantastic conversation of just like how powerful this whole movement is, because it's not just jewelry. I mean, yeah, it's some nice jewelry and everything. Everybody should get one. Go get your one. But this is not, it's not jewelry. It's a movement. It's an awareness. It's an awakening. And so to be in the space, I say it all the time, I'm not of this planet. Because a lot of times I'm not of this planet. I don't understand a lot of what's going on in terms of why people are getting upset that mass shootings are happening and all this death and destruction is taking place when they're paying their hard-earned money to go watch The Purge. And it's like, how are you expecting to pour into violence and these different things that are so toxic and not expected to impact you? So to be in a space that is so prevalent, and then to walk in and be in an office where I'm facing you and it's like, what? You're speaking love, you're speaking light, like you're planting seeds that are growing not only a person's ability to reach their highest self, but it's also like planting the seed in the imagination, because when you look through the words to determine what's important that you want to wear around your neck and what you want to amplify in your life, one has to think. And we have been taught not to think. We've been taught not to go outside this box. Like, we need to be this identity, this character that we've been portrayed from what age, right? And we get lost in that, and then we get stuck in this moment where this is who we are, this is how it looks, and then somebody says, wait, no, listen, hey, I've got this thing right here, and it might just open you up. It might just plant a seed that reconnects you to the spirit that you are, because you're not a human having a spiritual experience. You're a spirit having a human experience. That's huge.
Yes.
Right? That's huge to understand what that really is. So to be a part of the movement and sit there and know that it's like the bigger picture of the things that are still to come, with people having the ability to set their intentions in a way, whether they're walking on the sidewalk, or whether they're walking in a yard behind bars, whether they're at a college, whether they're, happen to be wherever they are, that they have the ability to set their intentions and create something for themselves. That's powerful. So yeah.
No, it's just validation of why we were brought together, because the words that you're speaking are verbatim for what we speak every day. And it is just so beautiful to hear you sharing that versus Marla and I sharing that with the world. And the world needs to experience just that love, that light, the courage to understand that we are having the experience, and we're all going through something.
Right.
And
there is no separation.
No.
That's the thing, is that with everything that is going on, you asked me how I was doing, and I said a lot of this has been more of a blessing, or I don't know, blessing has some loaded meanings behind it, so I'll say gift.
Yes.
To be able to have the space to, one, rest, to then have the opportunity to dive within, and have things ripped away in such a way, because we'll just go ahead and get out there. I have my book that I'm getting out there, and had my speaking engagement set up, had done all this work to get into that space. Had my first event was going to be on the 15th. Or no, I'm sorry, my books arrived on the 12th, was getting everything in order on the 15th for some things, and everything that I had set up for the weekends. I had an event every single day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. March, April, and May. All of it was canceled in 48 hours. Wow. So my work of 6-9 months of like grinding and like, okay, pulling these doors open. Hello, hi, I'm here. Listen, relationship was all scratched out, right? We'll go virtual. Well, my whole thing was setting up the audience. Mm-hmm. Like, I was creating the audience. I was bringing in the new audience. This was a new seed being planted, and it was completely ripped out of the ground. And it's like, so what do? Do you fall into depression? Absolutely. There is a moment of it.
Oh, yes,
and
yes.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and it happens, and it's like, this is like hard. Like, oh my gosh, I have all these books, I have all this stuff, and like, it's falling apart. The thing is, you don't get stuck in it. You don't stay there. You like, yeah, this is a hit, but life is constantly hits, right? And it's that ability to have the intentions to say, you know what, I just weathered this storm. There is a tree of life on my intention stick. I don't know any tree out on Gaia that has not been hit with a crazy storm, had all their leaves blown every which way, maybe all the nests blown out, like even left to be seen as dead, come back to life and be bigger and better than before. Mm-hmm. So you know, it comes down to having that space with the right mindset, with the intentions are set. So it's like, okay, wait a minute. Everything just got ripped from me. Does that mean I stop? Well, I don't stop. This means that I have to recreate. This means I need to get back in my imagination. I need to do something to create something new and now be that bigger thing, because maybe, just maybe, I wasn't thinking big enough. Right? Maybe, just maybe, I wasn't in the right areas or pulling in the right audience.
Yes.
Maybe, just maybe, I wasn't ready. And I needed to get some things straight in my life to be able to be that person that was ready to actually deal with what was coming. Maybe I needed to take a deep breath and reset, because I wasn't walking in a space of light. I was walking in a state of lack and panic. And like, there is this moment where it's like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so convinced I have to do this. And it's like, that's what was really the issue. Like, I created the chaos because I wasn't mastering myself within the chaos. And I needed to get into that space. So it's like, you know, it's such a beautiful thing. And you read something to me earlier that I don't know if I have, no, I took them home. I don't have them with me, but there are some beads that were given to me when, man, in the 90s. Is that a real time in the world? Did the 90s happen?
Oh, I think so. I listen, next Saturday is July 4th. So where did half a year just go?
Right. I mean, my son looks at me and it's like, you were born in 19, what? Like, you were born 2 years into the 2000s. Stop acting like that's like sometime back when there was no electricity.
Right. Oh my goodness.
But I was given these really beautiful beads, and some of the African traditions, not some of them, the African traditions, you'll see a lot of women are wearing these beaded necklaces and whatnot, and they're different colors, and different ones represent different energies, different spaces, different places. And so when you put something around your neck, it's a portal, and it opens up the energy that represents. So any necklace, you know, if you're wearing a necklace that says something crazy, you're opening up a portal. Like Budweiser, okay, it's a beer necklace, great, that's party on. But like, to have an intention stick that is filled with something that's personally created, personally impactful, and you're opening this up, you're literally saying to the universe, listen, I'm giving you this, I'm giving you me, take it, right? Excuse me. But the question becomes that, you know, a lot of us have been brought up in different faiths or religious belief systems. We'll call them religions because I'll use faith in a different way. That it's like there's this whole concept of faith. Like, what does that mean? What is that? And it's like, for me, the understanding of knowing that faith is the complete opposite of fear, right? But unfortunately, there are a lot of us that operate in a faith of fear. Yeah. So our faith is in fear, yep, not in the absolute ability of all. And so that's the thing that's so powerful, is the absolute knowledge around the fact that if I'm sitting here and I'm saying, okay, I just lost everything. Like, all my income just got wiped out. I now have tremendous amount of debt. I have these different things that have taken place. All my plans, let me say this again. All my plans keep getting destroyed. My plans keep getting destroyed in terms of what I'm doing Why? Oh, it's because I'm outside of myself, thinking that there's something outside of me validating me. There's some kind of work, something I have to do, this grind I have to make happen to get to the end result. And it's like, that's not the case. That's me operating in lack. That's me operating in judgment. That's me operating in shame. It's me operating in everything but love and faith of oneness, right?
And you're right, because that ties into religion, right? Because
Religion is fear.
it's based on fear.
Yes.
It's the religion versus spirituality, right?
Right.
And so, and the depression starts happening because life isn't turning out the way you planned. Life isn't turning out the way you expected it to turn out. But because you're not setting your intention behind what it is you want for yourself, you're allowing to go into that place of darkness or fear rather than the light, seeing the light and trusting what's to come, that everything is working out for you, because it's the perception that everything is falling apart for you. But is it really?
All right. Well, let's go back to what you just said. Things are not working out the way you think they should. Who is the one that gave you that blueprint? Who is the one that created those rules of how things are supposed to look and how things, I need to be, by the time I'm 30, I should have this, I should do this, I should blah, 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 blah. It's like, that started when I was 5. Like, I was amazing at 5. I was amazing at 3. I was like, you know what? Let me tell you something. I'm about to pull this up because it is so incredibly important.
Is it a picture of you?
Absolutely.
You were 5 or 3.
I think I was even younger.
I love it.
Well, I'm gonna answer while you're pulling this up. I'm gonna answer your question, which you already know, which Marla and I just have to laugh and giggle because you answered it. And we say, what makes God laugh? Telling him your plans.
Right. That's what makes, let me see if I can get it to angle right.
Do a little angle. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Are you sugar then? And you are sugar now. That's all I can tell you.
Look at you with the little bows in your hair.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Do you tell that child to turn off their light?
Look at that. Look at those eyes.
Do you tell that child that it's like they're not enough?
No way. What do you tell that child right now?
How do you discipline that child and say that you're too much? How about you sit that child by themselves in a classroom away from their peers because of the fact that that child has too much energy?
That's right.
How about you tell that child that she doesn't fit because of the fact that she doesn't look like everybody else because her skin's different? Or how about you go ahead and put that child on 150 milligrams of Ritalin to get her to calm down? And it's like, and then you say, what are you doing? Why can't she figure it out? You've disconnected that child from what that child was 100%, which was spirit.
Yes.
Pure energy, love, spirit.
Yes.
Because somebody else outside could not control that spirit because they've lost it within themselves.
Yes.
They didn't even know it was there to begin with.
Did not. And so then we spend this lifetime. I'm so grateful that I never grew up. I'm hugely inappropriate. I'm like, my son's like, Mom, please don't be that mom. I'm like, I can't help it. I'm not mom. Dude, I'm her.
We're boyfriend and girlfriend at 3 years old because the same thing. They couldn't figure us out. You have a learning disability. Why are you so active? Why are you writing with your left hand? You need to write with your right hand. Anything to take us from away who we truly were,
Disconnect you.
our authentic selves.
Give me just 1 second. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but I can. Carmen, I'm on a call. I need you to turn it down.
Right?
Oh
They
my,
reprogram.
it is unbelievable.
Sorry, they're having fun,
I love
but
it.
I can't hide from it.
I love about being in the now, being
Right.
being in the moment and watching time as it happens. But the one thing that we were so blessed to talk about this weekend with spiritual leaders from around the world, which you are, and I have to give such love and credit. And I know I'm speaking Marla's word, your authentic self. You are you. And this is what the world doesn't understand, because guess what? COVID-19, we just had to put on another mask. We are all wearing hundreds of masks because we make that person happy. And when I'm talking to this person, I need to act this way. And when I'm with that person, I need to be this way. And you don't even know who you are. And I'm talking not me, has no idea who their authentic self is.
Absolutely.
Because we have been, as you said, programmed to act, to behave, to smile, to repress, to push down our feelings, to
get that gold star from your teacher.
Yes, you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not handsome enough, you're not smart enough, you can't do this, but you can do that. You are not a sheep in the herd. You are exactly, Michelle, who you need to be, as what Marla and I talk about every day. And we are still growing every
Absolutely.
day. If this world doesn't accept me or Marla or you or our children or your children for who they are, meaning the authentic self, to speak our truth, right? To share our true feelings for the first time and not worry about what someone is going to react about or not react about. If we don't become who we are, we will never know our true light, what our soul is here on this mission, this purpose of this life, which I know you know is to help others, to have soul-to-soul connections. But if this world doesn't start being their authentic self, it's going to get worse and worse. And that's why it is about our children right now. And to teach our children to be exactly who they are, not to tame them, not to put them on medicine, not to say you can't be this or that. You be exactly who you are, because you are perfect just as you were made. I am that I am.
Right.
And how dare someone say you are not? Because we are all the same. There is no one in this world better than anyone else. I'm not better than anyone else, and I'm not worse than anyone else. And we have to come from humility to understand I'm no one. I'm absolutely no one. I'm
everything at the same time. It's the most amazing thing when we start to get to that point where, number one, the world will never accept you. We are not in the world that we're supposed to be in. This is a stomping ground for next. And we have to remember that this is not a place of peace. This is not a place of love, but it is your job. If you want to quote, I'm not great at quoting the Bible, but I do have a couple little things that I do like. Walking through the valley of the shadow of death is like this life, because you're surrounded with death, because that's what this is. This is a place to get caught up in, to get distracted away from who and what you are and where you're supposed to be going and what you're supposed to be doing. Now, everybody's on a different journey in that manner, because we're all on our own journeys. But it's within that those answers come. It's within that we find that in our breath, we hold power. Like I literally am getting to the point where I can take a breath. I can feel it opening. I can put a name. I can put a desire, and I can watch it unfold because of the fact that I know that this is what it is. I'm no longer in this thing of like, I've got to grind to make this work, because that's the deception. The deception is if you sit still in your seat and you do everything properly, it's all going to come together. It's all going to manifest perfectly. That's not what it is. Like sometimes the most craziest situation brings the best gifts.
Yes.
You know, like wild blueberries are amazing. So are raspberries, right? Like what a beautiful scene to see wild flowers. But at the same time, there is like pure violence in watching a lion hunt its prey. That's part of the existence of this planet. It's not something we can run from, but it's not something we have to fuel. And that's where we get caught up in like, I'm not responsible for these things that happen to me. No, you know what? I'm 100% responsible for everything that happened in my life. You read something to me that I wrote about my being in a place where my grandmama Pearl came to me, my grandmama and my Grammy, they like surrounded me, you know. And growing up, I was in a household where there was a lot of love, but there was a lot of fear. There was a lot of like judgment and whatnot. My father was one of the first Black engineers to be hired at Texas Instruments, in a place where you know, Blacks were hanging from trees when they stepped out of line. He married my mom a year after it was legal to marry a white woman. So, and she was an engineer. So they both were doing something that was very against the grain. So this experience created an environment where my dad was very focused on making sure that work stayed at work. And in doing that, he had to keep himself focused on work, because if he allowed any of that to come into the home, he would have lashed out at us. So he was a very quiet man, I thought. He was constantly watching television, and when he got upset, he got upset. Now, as a little girl, that little girl you saw, she took that as something was wrong with her, that she wasn't lovable. But the fact is that's not true. He was protecting her. He wasn't trying to abuse her. It's a perception of a child that I had to let go of to free myself. So when I'm standing with my grandmama and my grandmama Pearl and my Grammy, who have passed, in this moment where they kind of just surrounded me and like took me up like I was Storm on X-Men, you know, in that moment, the abuse that the women in my family, emotional and mental and at times physical abuse, I don't know about sexual, but I'm sure somewhere in there, but the abuse that we experienced, or the disempowering that we experienced, was just as much our responsibility as a victim as it was the perpetrator, because I was perpetrating it on myself. And the belief that I wasn't enough, and the belief that I wasn't lovable, and the belief that it's like I didn't deserve better. And the ego within me saying I have to keep this old person alive by inviting people into my life that are going to continue to do these things so I can confirm that these things are true. And it's like I refuse to stop and look at why. I refuse to stop and take the time, because I don't know to. So it's not a blame situation. It's not like it's your fault, bad you. No, unaware you keeps this cycle going, because your ego is driving you, because it's a much louder voice than the one that says, Michelle, you're gorgeous. You're love, you're light, you're enough. And I'm so used to hearing the screaming of, why can't I find love? Why don't people treat me right? Nobody ever blah, yuck, yuck. You know, I continue that cycle because I'm participating. And so with my grandmothers standing there, and my great grandmothers, it was that moment where it was like, you're responsible. You're 100% responsible for the experiences that you're having because of the thoughts that you keep feeding and you keep giving fuel to and you keep playing. Change the narrative, change the character, change the identity, change the story, change the outcome.
Bravo. Bravo. You just broke 7 generations, a cycle of 7 generations. You realize that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the crazy thing that you say 7, because my son being the 8th generation, if you know anything about the Sioux Indians, they had a stand somewhere against somebody that was trying to take their land and say that they weren't enough. And they said, you might defeat us today, but in 8 generations, we're going to come back stronger than ever. And my son is 8th generation.
Of course.
And he is the embodiment of spirit without judgment. It is our lineage, our children, our seed that is coming from us. That is the reason why the coronavirus, listen, world, the reason why the coronavirus is taking place is because there is no reason, according to the rules, I'm not human enough to have a conversation with you. According to the laws, there should be a divide here racially, according to what is going on in the world. We can't connect. We can't be one, because if we're one, then we're not divided. And if we're not divided, we cannot be controlled. So what do we need to do? This 8th generation is freaking powerful. I'm not cussing because I'm trying to be respectful of the world, but we're powerful. That 8th generation, we need to separate them. So how do we separate them? We create something that keeps them home, puts them in technology, which is a divide still. Even though they're still connecting, we bring them back to be fearful of each other. I'm walking in the store. Come on, you got a mask on. Why are you scared of me? And the fact that you see me walking towards you, and it's like, oh my gosh, I gotta dive. Like, really? You're scared? Funniest thing ever is going to a public place and sneeze because you have a tickle on your nose. People will lose their mind because they think they're gonna die. And it's like, guess what? I don't care. You're already dead because you're not living. And it was said, let the dead bury the dead. I don't hang out with the dead. Yeah, I got my mask so I can go shopping now because it's an ordinance in Arizona, but I don't hang with the dead. I don't have time.
But I don't even know how, I have no words because you spoke our words. And I know Marla's thinking the exact same thing. And one, you're moving in with us. That's all I'm telling you.
Yay! Mark,
We have
I'm going to live with Scott and Marla.
Wait, do you guys have a pool?
Of course.
Yes.
You come and swim in. But what Michelle, you just said is so 100% true, because our children chose to come back in this lifetime to do the work, to eradicate all the negativity and hatred and the divisiveness and the color and the religion and the politics, to say enough. It has worked
everywhere.
Years. We've tried working on peace and love for thousands of years, and it's all been separation because it was programmed to be exactly that. And when you and I and Marla, and we know our family, when we talk about the umbrella of love, which everything stems from,
right,
overcomes everything in this world, because it is why we're here. It
absolutely
is someone else understand that they are loved.
I'm the Virgin Mary. My son is the rebirth, is the recoming of the Messiah. So is yours. Yeah, you didn't know that, girl, did you? Yeah.
I'm gonna to take it back a hair, because when someone brought this to me, the Messiah is coming, the Mashiach is coming, whatever that is, in a different language, in a different culture, in a different religion. And it hit me that what was told to us, when the Messiah, when the Mashiach comes, we're going to be back. And it really hit me, because I said, we are all the Messiah.
Facts.
When we realize,
when we know who we are,
souls in this world are connected, we are already one, but we've been programmed to be everyone other than who we are. Going back to the beginning of this conversation, we will have heaven on earth as it's already here.
Right.
We will see everyone the same because we are the same.
Right.
We will be able to literally live in bliss, because that's how we were meant to be in the first place. But we were programmed to live in fear, to make sure we follow the sheep in the herd, and
absolutely
no more. Again, we are not me. There's no me, Marla. It's
right.
We are
collective. It's collective us. I get it.
Waking up, because
right.
for thousands of years it still hasn't resonated. And why? Because it shouldn't. It doesn't feel good.
Here's the thing, you know, it's so crazy is, like, if you really look and pay attention. So I don't know if you've seen The Witcher. I'm not, like, there's a lot of things that I'm not into. I'm like the Games of Thrones and all that kind of thing. But The Witcher has me. I'm Yennefer. If you're out there and you're watching this, I'm Yennefer.
You're talking Greek, because we haven't seen it.
Well, it's interesting because it's the whole idea of magic and managing chaos. It's like, if you watch most of what is out there right now, everything is being completely exposed, but it's always been exposed as entertainment. Like, that can't really happen. Oh, that's not really real. And our children are being exposed to the truth on such a crazy level, but they understand on an even deeper level, especially when they're coming from a place that is fertile of love, right? Where it's like, I said I was on a Zoom call prior. My son goes to Brophy, and they are determined to create a change within the community of Brophy that is nationally felt. That it's like, and not just around social distancing, but they want to take what is taking place racially, and create a new expectation to say, this is not how we're going to operate anymore. This is how we're now going to operate. And we're going to have this conversation where it's going to be difficult, and we are going to do something different. That's beyond amazing to me, because most people don't even, they just want to be like, make it stop, and it's one of those things where I sit up and I continue to say, this is about the internal working within. You got to, whatever the solution is, go within. But here's the thing. It's not the kids that are having an issue. It's the adults.
Yes.
It's the hogs. And it's like, I sit up and it's like, all love and respect to the community, and the things that are happening are unacceptable, period, point blank. It is not okay for me to be worried about my son getting in his car and going to work and being pulled over and not making it home because somebody has whatever there's going on. But here's one of the things that I do, and I wish others would do. And for some, it seems ignorant, because they're like, oh, you're just ignoring the facts. No, I know the facts, but this is what I know. I don't have a son. I have a child that came through me, and I don't own him. Right. He is a spirit and an energy all to his own.
Yes.
And I swing from faith that it's like that when my son gets in that car, or when he walks on this planet, that he is protected by something so much bigger than fear, because I refuse to allow that to be his co-pilot. And I also know that if that moment, which would would be one of the most, I think it would definitely be more excruciating than birth, which is pretty intense, would be to lose him and have to go through that human experience. But knowing who he is, knowing how I've raised him, I know he knows who he is. So I know that if his time comes, that it's like there will be a celebration. Now I say that I have to say I will be devastated, because I don't want people to sit up and email, you no, I understand, but there is a point where we have got to be intentional with the thoughts that we're having and the energies we're putting on our families and on our community and whatnot. I demand to see the day for those that I love and want to walk in the light to have that protection. Now, if you choose to be a part of the purge, hey, you got to deal with what the purge comes with. That has a result too. I can't protect those that like to purge, but I can give covering and give awareness to the beauty that comes from me knowing when I walk into a store, if you look at me funny, it's because of the fact that you're funny, not because it's something I'm doing. I mean, I'm so sorry that all of this is too much for you, that you don't see this in yourself to celebrate it in me, because I see it in you.
Right. This world.
It's the mirror image. When people are having an issue, they need to look at themselves in the mirror.
Facts.
Then they'll understand, because they'll see the reflection of truly who they are.
We say that every day. I don't like this about you, and they don't realize they're looking in a mirror, reflecting back on the things they don't.
What is it that the little 3 fingers pointing back? Like you're always pointing back. It's funny. I use this analogy of like it looks like you have a mirror behind you and a clock. If that mirror were to shatter and stay in place, it would be all these tiny little pieces.
Yes.
Right. And each tiny little piece would be its own shape, size, and would only fit in its spot. But at the end of the day, it's a collective mirror that has the reflection of one, which is the big picture, the all. And in that, it's like, yeah, I can't be in your spot, but my little moment, and that's the thing, good, bad, ugly, however you want to see it, all of this is an experience of the energy experiencing all of this.
Yes.
So I welcome it with love. But okay, so I have to do something, because I said I was gonna do this. So I haven't, to those of you out in the world that have yet to get your intention stick, and I'm really kind of disappointed, because this is a new computer and I feel like the camera should be clearer.
Maybe you have a plastic thing over it.
No, I have nothing over it, because I literally, I'm just making sure. No, it's just
even if it was blurry, you're still beautiful inside.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. So here is the intention stick, right? I'm taking my chain out. Like that. And I am going to share my intentions that I think I put them in like 6 or 7 months ago. I switched them out.
Okay.
Because I switched them out every once in a while, but with the whole corona, I haven't been doing anything to, I've just kind of been like,
I'm really looking forward to this.
So, dun, 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 dun. So I have to for all the folks out there that are palm readers, look at that.
Oh, whoa! Looks like a tree.
That's actually sacred geometry, there, girl.
That is. So as you see that, I wanted to make sure, because I know somebody's going to be like, "Yo, wait, what did her hand look like?" So as I pull out my intentions,
I love this. A lot of wisdom.
Super excited, because you can see they're so little, but they're so powerful. Dun, dun, dun.
What do you have?
Don't you want to know? We'll be back after these messages.
Cliffhanger.
Right, it's always.
Where is Ryan Seacrest? Where are you? Wait, did I just lose one? I think I'm just.
Yeah, it literally flew.
Oh yeah. One just blew out of my hand. Oh, you know what? Maybe I should do that.
Right there.
Turn off the fan that's on high because they're like blowing around.
No, that was a message actually. What was the one that fell?
The one that fell was mindful.
That's good. Very
That
powerful.
was mindful.
Wow.
So it's very interesting because just seeing these, it's like everything has something, right? Being mindful. You know, we think that mindfulness is about thinking, and it's not. It is not about thinking. And I am, as you can tell, I'm a master of words and speaking. Like my tongue is definitely sprinkled with a gift of life. But I'm an overthinker. And my overthinking kept me blocked around a lot of things, whether it be relationships, whether it be opportunity, but it kept me blocked in believing that I was enough, most and foremost, because it kept that lack and that judgment and the fears and shame and all that just going in my head because of that overthinking. And it's like you have to play everything out over and over again. Well, what have I done this? What have I done that? Is this going to work? Whatever. Mindfulness is truly for me about releasing and letting go, to allow the mindfulness of peace to flow, that space where you just become quiet and you are breath.
Yes.
That's mindfulness, of like being in a space where you are truly just in a space that almost feels surreal and levitative, if that's a word. If it's not, I just created it. Webster, write it down.
Yeah.
But it's that space where like all of a sudden the exhale allows you to fly and to soar. It's just a beautiful place. So I literally have had an experience recently where I've come to be able to take a deep breath and feel my portals opening up and be able to actually see the places that I exist collectively, individually, and be able to see how I fit in these different spaces and how I can. The word manipulate has a negative connotation. Excuse me. But to be able to manipulate your space intentionally for the greater good and for the good of what, for yourself, to be selfish in a way of self-expression, self-understanding, self-awareness is a beautiful thing. And we need to change the narratives on these words that really have power to elevate us instead of keeping us trapped, because we steer clear of them because it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be seen as self-centered. No, you got to be self-centered because that's where you are. So the second one, wow, the second one that fell was love.
Wow. And that we're feeling from you.
Absolutely.
You have, and that comes from your heart. From the
Absolutely.
second we in sharing with the world, to finally be able to truly love who they are, the unconditional love for themselves,
right,
which we're never taught. And
so on my Facebook, I'm Michelle LLC. Well, Michelle LLC is what I go by because my last name and middle name make LLC. So when I had LLC, Michelle LLC, Facebook came and said, oh, that's not a real name. I said, okay. So I put Love Michelle, because I was just like, who doesn't need to love Michelle other than Michelle? Michelle needs to love Michelle most of all. So every time I log on, I'm reminded to love Michelle. And
that's
it's
beautiful. And as so should everyone else in this world.
right. I mean, it's you cannot receive what you will not give to yourself first.
Absolutely. And to love that child, that photo, to embrace her.
So cute.
Oh, so special.
Right.
She's sitting right by your side.
She is.
Absolutely. She, like, you're literally talking to her.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that somehow, I think have you seen the movie The Divergent?
Yes.
Okay, you know where everybody got the shot and she got the shot and it didn't work on her, but she went around and was like, okay, let me just kind of fake the funk. Like, I'm faking the funk for real. Like, I got bills. I don't know how I figured out how to pay them because I don't know what this is about. Like, this adult thing, like, it's so crazy. What do you mean I have to be responsible? What does that look like? So I can't talk to, okay, let me behave. But no, it's like somehow that shot missed me. And I really think it's because of all the separation that they constantly separated me from so much that I was like in my own little world of like, la la la. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't stay awake. Too much Ritalin, can't get the lesson.
Yeah. Sad.
Yes. So I mean, hey, it all works out, right? It's one of those things that
Always.
right. So the next one is consciousness.
You've got that.
Yeah, you got that one down.
Which is really powerful, right? Because there are multiple levels to consciousness. What is it? And it's not just like, oh, you know what? I feel this way, everything. It is a constant growing experience that is a wonderful journey down the rabbit hole of different layers of the onions. And
seriously, you must be reading my mind. That's how in sync we are. Like, I love that I don't even have to speak. This is, we are one.
right. Well, you did tell me that you expect me to take the show and take the
You don't understand.
tapped in to that third eye.
That's it.
I'm enjoying this more than you know, and I know Marla is as well, because this is bliss. This is validation. This is for everyone to hear versus coming from Marla and I. And I love that it's coming through you to speak your heart, your authentic self again. It goes back to authenticity, because why is she talking that way? Why is Scott talking this way? What are they talking about? That we don't talk about.
They're so weird.
And that's okay, because normal's boring.
Right. Well, and here's the thing that's so crazy is that I think something that really needs to be said is that this is not always a communal journey. This is and you guys are really blessed to have each other, to be raising children together, and to be in the space that you get to do this together, because that's not always the case. I know my road is definitely one that's less traveled, and so I have some people that I get to enjoy in my life, but they're not here. And a lot of the people that are here may or may not understand me. So it's like the ones that get to be in the circle, in that space, they're very few and far between. And typically we're so engrossed in our own journey and the things that are happening with us that it's hard to collide, because it's like, hey, listen, let's get together tomorrow. Okay. Oh, this just came up. Oh, and it's like, but it's like you said, where you come in contact with somebody and it's like, it's been 9 years and it's like, it was yesterday that you got to hang out.
Exactly. And that's a soul to soul connection.
Right. And I have those, but I think that's one of the things is that coming into this place where you are spiritually really powerful, there is something that is lost in terms of the idea that it's supposed to be like people always around, but there's something so beautiful gained because you're no longer distracted, and there is such a beautiful peace that comes from not being lonely when you're with yourself, when you're with yourself, right? The loneliness that one feels alone is when they have disconnected from themselves.
Yes.
And that's like, it's the confusion of like, let me get with some people.
No.
I'll feel better. Yeah, you'll be distracted.
And again, hence everyone's always been looking for the answer on the external.
Absolutely.
And as Marla and I share every day, that this, because there's going to be another obstacle, another COVID, another something, but this is
Election.
and this is allowing people to look for the answer from within for
Right.
the first time, not just in their life, but for generations.
Facts.
You said it is a gift, and I'm not being compassionate, because yes, hundreds of thousands of lives have been lost. People have lost jobs. Again, we understand that it is horrific, but it's
Right.
allowing maybe someone to look for the answer from within themselves, or that it's bringing them to the next place in their life because they were so miserable what they were doing. And yes, it's scary. It is, because
Absolutely.
it's the unknown. But if you know you're doing what's resonating in your heart, and it's making you feel good, and you're helping others, or whatever that may be for that individual, do it. Take that leap of faith and know we're always being guided. And if again, I know we've talked about this, but if we would understand who's walking by our side, our soul, we would live fearlessly. And as you said, if you were dreaming, and what you said, as Marla and I say, if your dreams don't scare you, you're not dreaming big enough.
Right.
What you dreamt of, what you thought was what needed to happen. Your reality was the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
Reality, your dream is much bigger than what you had planned.
I was still under the influence of the programming.
Of course you were, like the rest of
Absolutely.
again, we're awake. And you talked about movies. People think, oh, The Matrix, written in 1999 with Keanu Reeves. That's reality. People, again, they've been so programmed. I'm not saying all of a sudden take a pill and you're going to be in World War 12. I'm talking about it's awakening to truly find out who you are.
Facts. And it's a powerful thing, because in our consciousness, if we think that our dead self is our conscious self, then we can go no further than we are. It's when we find our living light, that consciousness, that space, that place. There's a wonderful Netflix series on right now. It's kind of crazy, but it's really amazing. Midnight Gospel. Oh my gosh, it's
info.
Right. It's really good. It goes into some of these things where it's like, it seems crazy, but it's like, yeah, that's it. So it's not that we don't have access to the truth. It's that we have not accessed us and our truth to know where to move forward. So our consciousness, I say there's three different voices. There's the voice of the past. There is the voice of distraction, and the higher self. The voice of the past is ego. It helps you relive these moments over and over and over again, to say, like, you know what? You're not enough. Don't try that. Like, you need to step back. Who are you fooling? You're not fooling anybody. If they only knew who you really were, they would not want to deal with you. All these little things, like, that keep you bound up. Like, this is, I can never, right?
Remember?
And it keeps us, right. But then you get to this point where, like, that's not true. I can move forward from that. I come to this awakening. I'm setting my intentions, right? And then all of a sudden you move out on this thing you think is faith, but there's still fear in that faith because you haven't really moved out of it. So you have the parasite of fear moving through you still, and it still has you bound, and it gets you like something, you're moving forward, and then something pops up and it's like, oh my gosh, if I don't do this, like, it can, like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like, I've got to do this. Like, that's him. This is it. Oh my gosh. And you move forward and it all falls apart, and it sends you right back to the voice of the past. Says, I told you, you don't want to listen to me. But I've been telling you, come on, come back over, fill these buckets back up. Okay, we're back. You're back. The thing is that both of those voices always have lack, fear, shame, judgment, some kind of panic around them. Whereas the voice of the higher self is like, Michelle, take a deep breath, take another one, calm down, just relax, you're fine. You know what, if this is the right thing, I'm not telling you to just wait and let it fall from the sky, but if this is the right thing, you don't have to rush. You don't have to hurry. You can just breathe and allow it to come to you. Like, open yourself to allow it to come in. And there's this serenity that comes, there's this love that surrounds. And sometimes it's just like, look, you know he's not the one. You're playing around because you're scared that nothing's going to come and you're being impatient. Sometimes it gets up in your face and says some things that don't feel good. But the things that it's saying out of love. And when we can be in a space where we hear that voice and we understand, I say understand because we're not under anything, we're entering it. When we understand, that is our consciousness on its highest vibration, allowing us to connect with the best of ourselves, excuse me. Then we have the ability to soar and be dynamic. So that is powerful. The consciousness for me is powerful because as I wrote this book, this is a book based on Think and Grow Rich, sex transmutation, the mastering of sex transmutation, because nobody wants to talk about how powerful our sexual energy is and what it really is about. We want to act like this is nothing, and it actually is a huge creative space that people are creating more of their own chaos and nonsense that they don't want because they don't know who they are and they do not know the powers that they hold. All
they need to do is open the door within. And most people can't do that because they're afraid of what the
Facts.
Oh, and
where can people get your book?
Yes.
It is on right now. Well, they can get the original version, the now version. This one right here is hilarious because it's filled with errors. We found all the errors that were missed by the editor. We both missed them.
I love it.
But I'm still selling it because of the fact that I'm filled with errors. And just because there's an error doesn't mean that you don't move forward.
Absolutely. Good is good enough.
So they're on my website, which I'll provide, which is missmichellellc.com. But I do have one more.
What do you have?
Oh,
what? You had a fourth one?
What is it?
What is it?
I can't see it. Oneness.
How appropriate.
Because there is no separation.
No. And this is what we live for, to remind the world we are one.
Right.
And I don't know if you had seen our logo, our branding, the world with our tree encompassing the entire world.
Right.
It's an old world where there's no division of continents.
Right.
It is one, which we are of. And we're reminding this world that we need to become one again.
Absolutely.
And we are. And I seriously don't want this call to end. Speak with you for Marla and I for 9 more hours.
Right. Absolutely.
I'm gonna say,
no, I think it does. I think the whole.
And we're gonna have another call. I can tell you that.
Yes.
Definitely.
I am because we are.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, and this is one of the things I want to offer to those that are in the Phoenix area. I am putting together, you have to recreate yourself when everything, and so to speak to the fact that the coronavirus has impacted people, I'll stop shaking my computer. To speak to the fact that the coronavirus has impacted people and really devastated, I lost everything. So like, I don't sit here with like any resources that I got to pull from. This is me pushing through and allowing things to come in, and they have. I'm like, my girlfriend is in New Orleans. She needed me to come and stay at her house with her son. So she's an ICU nurse dealing with the corona stuff. So I'm here. Like, I've been here all summer. It's like, how did this happen? I'm rent free. Like, thank you. Like different.
You manifested
It was
it,
right there for you.
and you're trusting the journey, and you're
Absolutely.
next door and walking through.
Well, and what
Right.
happened? Opposing engines, opposing thoughts, right?
Absolutely.
They want
Absolutely.
things to work out, but then they have the opposing thought.
Mm.
So
Absolutely.
get on that.
And
Right. So this is one of the things I've recreated is I now have, I put together for those of you that know what a yoni is, that's a female part. I'm doing yoni steams with coaching. So where it's like, what are you trying to release? It's a yoni release, excuse me. So I'm doing portable yoni steams. My chairs should be here on Monday. Super excited about that. But so that's one of the things, if somebody is interested in connecting and they want to do, I can do up to 5 people at a time. Like if it's a group of women that want to kind of collectively do it or individually.
so people can reach you with so much love and pleasure, and that's amazing.
Yeah, they can hit me up, and they can get a little bit of this living glitter in person.
I love from
Amazing.
and like I said, we don't want this to end, and this is again the next part of our journey together, and you're walking by our side.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm putting my intentions back in here because it's hugely important to make sure that you, when you set your intentions, that you bring them back to the place where they hold power. And it's like once you set them and you reignite that space, man. So yes, I put this back on knowing that this is not our
My hair standing up. Validation of the energy that comes from your heart, regardless if you're here or you're on the other side of the world, and that is the power of intention.
So for those that are watching and that have an intention stick, take it, put it in front of you, give it a kiss on the top. No, you're part of this. This is the movement. You're a part of this moment. Now, if you don't have an intention stick, you can get one on their website. But if you don't have an intention stick, you can stick your hand on your heart.
Yes.
You can put it on your head, you can put it on the crown, and you can speak these things and say, I choose to be intentional. I choose to be a part of this movement. I choose to be a part of the oneness, and I refuse to separate. I am part of the unification.
That's it. I am.
I am. Absolutely.
I'm saying I am, as I'm speaking for Marla, as I am.
Right.
We love you so much. And
love you too.
we are honored to call you family. We are honored to call you our sister. And we are grateful for your heart, your courage, your love that you shared with everyone. And that's gratitude that was overflowing from both of our hearts. So thank you for being you. Thank you for being your authentic self and showing the world who you are, because you are perfect just how you are. And we love you for that. And you are one to be, I don't even know what to say.
Your light shines so bright,
yes.
So bright. And again, we embrace that little child in you, because
yes.
we see her beauty.
Yes.
Thank you.
We see her energy. We see how she wants to help the world and awaken, and you're doing that.
Yes,
so
you are.
Thank you again for being in our lives, for being part of the movement, a seed, and really sharing this message of love.
You are as important to this as Marla and I, and going back to, it is about us collectively. And
absolutely.
You already know our sign off. Love you, we love you, we love you, we honor you, we honor you, we honor you. And we're sending you and your beautiful family blessings and intentions of gratitude, light, and so much love.
Absolutely. Mwah. Perfectly created as perfect treasures, priceless, perfect treasures. Ah, thank you. Thank you for having me. Bye, world.
And the world is a better place because of you, by the way.
Yes.
Yes, likewise. I mean, it's all of us, right? We're
As I am you and you are I.
absolutely. So super excited. Thank you for letting me make my bed before we got started.
We'll see you soon.
Yes, absolutely.
A biento.
All right.
Love you, love you, love
Love
you.
you too.